Hi guys, today I'm going to be upgrading, if you will, my solar system in its capacity to charge not the main battery but also both batteries. So just so you know, it's important to understand my type of boating that I do, which is probably, I'm going to say probably 80% of you out there do the same thing as me. So I have a a cruising sailboat. It's a Catalina 270, by the way. And I use it mainly for club sailing, so I'm at a yacht club most of the time. I do not have shore power on board, which was a reason for me to put on a pretty good solar system on my boat. I use it to make sure that the battery and the solar that runs the fridge, because I converted my ice box into a fridge, can operate that fridge all summer long from mid-May to about, I would say, beginning or mid-October, non-stop, without killing the battery, of course, but keeping all our important drinks and food items cold as they should in the fridge. I also installed an electric toilet, so I swapped my pump toilet to a Jabsco Flushlight toilet. You can see that in my other YouTube videos as well. You'll see that, as well as the conversion icebox as well. So all that to say that my solar system, which comprises of two 100-watt panels, so that's 200 watts of solar, going to a 30-amp controller that you'll see right there, and it feeds the fridge through the accessory component of the solar controller. So the power comes in from the sun, solar panels, goes to the controller, and then feeds from the accessory switch on the controller, which I'll show you. It feeds directly to the fridge. Now the controller is programmed to save the battery. So should for any reason 3 or 4 or 5 cloudy days occur and the solar panel can't keep up with the charge, the solar controller is designed to cut off that accessory, in other words, shut off the fridge, until it can recharge the battery to a certain amount of voltage. And at that point, when the solar controller goes into float mode, in other words, the battery is now fully charged, and then and only then will it kick the fridge back on again. So sometimes it happens and I don't even know about it. I come on board and everything is good. However, the problem that I'm trying to solve here, and you're going to see it's such an easy solution, is I want, once the battery is, that main battery, if you will, or the house battery, let's call it the house battery, once it's fully charged, I don't want to lose or spoil that solar power coming in through the panels to the controller. So when it goes into float mode, what I'd love it to do is to be able to, okay, my primary battery is full. Now let's go ahead and fill out or charge the secondary battery. Now, to do that, it can be get into very complex solar systems on board. I don't want to go into complex systems. I want to keep things super simple and all that. And today there's a lot of technology out there that allows me to do that. So it was important for me to tell you what kind of a sailor I am, so that you understand I'm not doing transatlantics or cross Pacific or going around the world, and I'm not spending months and months living on board. At best, we spend 2, 3, maybe 2 weeks at a time on board if we go down from Montreal to the Thousand Islands. And I'm fine, because should something happen, I can always kick over the diesel engine and charge both batteries right while running the engine. But I'm trying to avoid doing that as well. So all that to say that in the winter, I keep my solar panels going. I keep my batteries on board, except the battery switch that you have here, the 1-2 battery, I put it to both. That way it's going to charge the batteries and all that, but it's going to float them through so that the batteries are being charged equally the same thing. It keeps the batteries trickle charge our winter, so it prevents them from freezing as well. And it sort of saves the battery. That's great for winter. Nothing else is being drawn from the batteries. I'm not using a toilet. I'm not using the fridge, obviously. Everything is completely turned off. I just want to maintain the battery over winter rather than bring them heavy batteries back home and plug them in my garage and all that stuff. So I avoid doing all that, which has been fantastic. Come springtime, the boat goes in the water. I want to be able to do the same thing, but I don't want to float. I don't want to keep the switch on both. I really want to save my house and my starter battery separately, but I want to make sure that when I show up, I can start the engine and I don't have some sort of drain or whatever. So lo and behold, I did a lot of research and I came up with and found this here, which is called a digital Echo Charge. So what that is, it's not a charger. What that is that it's a smart switch. when it's going, and as you can see, there's 3 wires. Such an easy thing to install, and you'll see that. I'm going to make sure that I document that. I also going to write an article for Practical Solar Magazine on this. So basically what this does, it detects when that first battery is charged, fully charged by the solar controller, by the solar panel. It will detect, okay, it's gone into float mode now. So, okay, so now I'm going to switch over and charge the second battery. So it's a unidirectional charge. There's no danger of it, charge coming back to it and damaging this or the other battery. It's simply going to switch over from the battery that's charged and says, okay, now I'm going to go charge battery number 2. So I can keep my switches, my battery switches to actually off if I wanted to. And I know that I'm not wasting any solar energy that I'm generating through those panels. So let me give you a little bit more details and some close-up of the solar controller. All right, so let me just shut this off and I'll start over. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit more details before I show you the Echo Charger switch. So there's my solar panel, solar controller, sorry. So it's telling me right now, you see it says floating. So it's telling me that my battery that I'm charging, which is battery 1 or the house battery, the one that's going to operate or operates the fridge and everything else in the house. It's telling me, see the nice little smile right there in that battery? It's floating right now. So what that's telling me is that, okay, in order for the solar controller or a battery charger to work, the first thing it does is it detects the current battery, what the voltage is versus the voltage being produced by, in this case, the solar power, the solar panels. So, and if the battery voltage is lower, then your charger, whether it's solar or battery, will then start charging the battery. That's the trigger point. So as soon as they're at the same voltage, it goes into what we call trickle or float mode. So, and this here, so you see this is the panels, the 2 wires on the left right here. Okay, those are the solar panel coming in. These 2 here are going to battery, the first battery I told you about, the house battery. And this here is the accessory. So these wires here are actually going to the fridge. They are being bypassed, the thing, to the refrigerator. I did put a fuse here. So that way I protect the fridge. I protect also the battery and the solar system. So should something happen, that circuit will break. And to turn off the accessory, you just press this button right here. So when the little light is on here, that means, when that little light is on, there you go, sorry about that. When that little light bulb is on the display, it means that switch is on. And if I do like this, you see now, the power is going to the fridge right now. You see that? Oh, sorry, you see that? Where you see it's going towards the light bulb, that means the power is going to the accessory. I'm going to shut it off because I'm not ready to turn on my fridge. And there it is right there. All right. Now, and this is the panel I was telling you about. So in the winter, I put this to both. And when I put that to both, then it will float the power coming in to both batteries, obviously. And then it will keep them charged and they're going to be pretty even. As you can see, this is the house battery number 1. And this is the thing. As you can see, it's a little lower, right? So, but if I put it to both, you'll see now, it's at 13.5. It's going up towards 14, a little bit more than 14. If I go back to battery 1, it'll be the same thing because it's actually floating through both batteries. So I do that in the winter. But during the season, I want to be able to go to 1 or 2 or both. I don't want to keep them in both. We all know that it's not a good idea to keep your battery switch on both, especially if you're starting the engine or running the engine. It's not a bit. So come the summer, I want to be able to just leave this on 1 or off and know that anything I'm generating to charge that house battery, if I have extra power, I want it to not be wasted and go charge battery number 2. So let me show you what that Echo Charger is. So this is the box that it came in. And it's pretty good. This is a very, 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 probably one of the best manuals I've seen. And it really, really describes, the installation, how easy it is, how it works. So it really demystifies that switch. And I think this is probably one of the better manuals I've seen on any kind of accessory. It comes with all the wires that you might need. Now, it comes with 2 feet of wire, basically, for each wire. If you need to put it somewhere where you need longer wire, you can do that by buying this. It tells you what kind of gauge. I think it was 16 gauge wire. Of course, they recommend to make it as short as possible. The longer the wire, the less performance there is. So I'm probably going to be able to, I have to add about a foot longer of wire, but you see the fusible links are in there as well. So everything you need is there. And this is actually the switch itself. So let me take that out. There you go. So there you go. It's super light, very, very light, as you can see. So I'm very happy with that. And there's the 3 wires. So this is going to go to the ground of the first battery, because the battery grounds are all connected, right, to a common. And then this one's going to go to the house battery, the primary battery to be charged. And this one here is going to go to the battery, the backup battery, or the secondary battery. And so that's the digital EcoCharge. Now you see it needs to be ventilated but protected from water. So if I look at my installation, my batteries are actually underneath this cushion right here on this side of it, right here. So I have room right in here. It'll be protected from the desktop, from any kind of liquid falling in. It'll be nicely ventilated as well. And I'm going to install that with the trusted old, there you go. So I use 3M, what's it called there? The Velcro strips. Really great. And by the way, that's what's holding this control panel. You see the Velcro? So I don't need to use the screw. And that's been holding now for, I'm going to say 5 years now. So it never came off. I thought maybe in the winter it might get cold and flop off, but it doesn't. So that's a really great thing to have, is be able to use these Velcro strips right here. They can be easily removed. As you know, the trademark is you'll be able to remove them without leaving damage, but you're not having to drill holes. So if I install something, or you install something, hold on, let me just flip the camera here. Yeah, so if you install something and you're not 100% sure that's where you want it to be, well, Velcro is a really great opportunity to say, you know what, that's the right place. I will drill a hole, or not, or never. But I like that because it gives you a second chance at, no one likes to drill holes in a boat. We're all the same, I'm sure. So I'm going to go ahead with the installation, and then I'll keep shooting some pictures and some video. All right, guys? Okay, for the installation of the digital EcoCharge, I want to make sure it's someplace that's going to be well ventilated, right, as well as visible. I want to be able to see the little light here telling me if it's green, blinking, or red. So, and my batteries are underneath here. So I have the cushion. I have a set of Tupperware drawers that fit in really nicely underneath the thing. And I have the space back there. So the batteries are right underneath here. So by putting that down there, I know I have ventilation, because it's actually going to be airy on all sides. And I'll be putting it this way here, so my wires go straight down. And I'm going to show you what I did underneath all of that to accommodate the wires as much as possible. All right, so now I have the cushion removed, and you'll see that I just made this hole over here. I used a round, like doorknob type of door cutter, and then my jigsaw to make a nice rounded edge here. I always make my holes a little bit bigger for wiring, because you never know, you want to pull a wire through that has a plug or a joint or something, and you don't want to be stuck with a too small a hole, having to cut the wire or redo the joint. So it's actually going to go over here, and you probably don't see it, but I did mark where it's going to go. So it's going to go right about there, and you'll see my wires are going to go in there. And I'll be able to see that light right on the next, between the wall here on the left and the drawers that will be on the right. I'll be able to see the witness light over here to make sure everything is good. So now, before I pursue or continue, I'm going to prepare my wires. In this case, I need to add another foot or so I got some extra 16 gauge wire. But before doing anything electrical, I'm going to go and unplug my power source to the controller, which is the solar panel wires. So I'm going to just unplug those. While you're installing this device, you do not want to have any charges or charge going to the battery. So you want to shut off any sources of charging, in my case solar. So I'm going to go unplug my solar panels while I'm doing this. Okay, so now I have my battery cover off. So this is my house battery. This is my start battery. So the house battery is the one that gets charged primarily by the solar panels. And in the winter, I put this switch to both. So that way it floats through both batteries, but it's just during the winter, just to maintain the batteries. However, in the summer, I never put it on both. The only time you'll see me put the battery switch on both is if both batteries are weak, but combined I can start the engine. Once I start the engine, I then switch it back to battery 2, so it recharges the starter battery and so on and so forth. Again, never run the engine with battery switch on both, by the way, just as a safeguard, letting you guys know that. So with the switch now, with the EcoCharger switch, like I said, it's going to charge the house battery primarily. And once the charger or the controller goes to float mode, or it realizes that the battery is now fully charged, and on the controller it actually says floating. So right now it's telling me that it's floating. It's not charging the batteries. Everything is good. So this switch will then say, okay, well, you know what? Let me switch off this battery, the house battery, and let me charge the start battery. That way I'm not wasting any solar energy that I'm generating with the solar panels. So, and I just, there you go. So now I'm going to make my wiring. Right, so I'm having a hard time passing my wire through that hole there and making its way to behind the control panel. Every time I try to slip the wire through or down, I can't touch it because it's just too soft, the wire. So what I did is I attached a more rigid, it's actually a tie wrap. So when I bring it in, it won't flip-flop to the left or the right. I'll now be able to feel it through that hole over there and be able to pull it right through. So just a little bit of a trick there. All right, so I was able to pass the wire through, and I used my the tie wrap to fish it through behind all the other wires. Now I keep it nice and clean. And now before I actually hook it up, while I've got the wire available to me, one of the things I always do is I make myself these wire labels. I got these wire label kits on Amazon. So I always identify all the wires, as many as I can, for two reasons: so that I remember what those wires are for, but I think of the next guy, whoever buys my boat in the future, he'll be able to see what each wire is for, or at least most of them. Just trying to add a little bit of humor, but this is one of the things I hate about doing projects, is that the whole boat is a mess. Oh well, but like my dad used to say, if you're gonna make some omelets, you're gonna have to break some eggs. All right, guys, so the installation is complete. As you can see, my the pilot light, or the indicator light, is indicating green, solid green, so everything is connected properly. It's now actually charging battery. This is the primary house battery. It is full, so now that actually switched over and is now using my solar energy that I'm producing to charge the start battery. So I'm not wasting any energy as well. And if you look at the solar panel controller, you see it's no longer floating. It's now sending 14 volt to that secondary battery. So I'm very pleased with the installation. By the way, in the beginning of the video, I mentioned the extra wire. I was mentioning 12 gauge, 16 gauge. It's actually 12 gauge, guys. But the manual does tell you that. So I went and got myself some 12 gauge wiring as well. And like I said, at about a foot. So I'm very pleased. It's working fine. Great project. I think it's an easy add-on for any do-it-yourselfer. Just remember that when you're working on anything electrical, shut off anything that's providing a charge. In my case, I unplugged my solar panels so I wouldn't have any charges coming through while I'm working on wires. So that's it, guys. I appreciate you watching. I hope you found this interesting, because I really think this is a great little device, especially for boats. If you have like two batteries, a primary house battery and a start battery, I think this is in a solar system. I really think it's a great add-on. It doesn't have to be through solar. You can have, if you have shore power and you're putting in your battery charging, if it's only going to one of your batteries, for example, well, this is a great opportunity to charge a second battery as well. So I hope you like it. I'll put some links on the EcoCharger where I got it. I got it off Amazon. I'll put the link of the one that I bought. But do your research. There's a lot of them out there, guys. Thanks a lot. Do me a favor. Do like and subscribe if you haven't. And do share. I think, fellow boaters that have two batteries, or kind of like us, I think it's great to know that both batteries are being charged, not simultaneously, but as one gets charged, the other one gets charged. So when you come on board, no surprises. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day.